Welcome to this Production and Operations Management tutorial video. The topic of this video will be supply management, and more specifically purchasing savings that can be derived by reducing the percentage of purchasing expenses. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, this supplemental tutorial video, is because the format of this type of problem in the homework is different from what you find in the textbook and the previous or the other tutorial video. So we're going to jump right into the homework to show how this type of problem can be worked according to the formatting in the homework problem. We're going to use this problem that looks at an internet retailer, and there's seven questions associated with this one set of data. So as we read here, the growing internet retailer Nile Corporation has shown impressive growth in sales over the past several years, with sales this past year at $520 million. If the company has a net profit margin of 3%, what would its net profit be? Now, this problem is set up in a way where we're going to walk step by step in order to build our understanding of the different percentages and how they play into profit and so forth, and then how that plays into the savings or the increase to profits that can come from reducing our purchasing expenses. So here again we have $520 million revenue, and we have a net profit margin of 3%. So we'll put that right here. You'll notice that all the data is clearly labeled. And that gives us a net profit of $15.6 million. Simply taking the revenue times the net profit percentage gives us $15.6 million. So we'll just submit that right here, $15.6 million. If in the next year the company achieves its revenue target growth of 4%, what would its total revenue be? So we have an increase in sales, our target here of 4%. And given that, the revenue would be $540.8 million. We simply take 1 plus the growth rate of 4% enclosed in parentheses and multiply that by the previous year's revenue of $520 million, and that gives us $540.8 million. So we'll just put that here, $540.8 million. Question 12. If in the next year the company achieves its revenue growth target of 4%, and assuming its profit margin remained unchanged at 3%, what would its total profit be for next year? Well, our spreadsheet already has that there. We take our new revenue after the 4% growth in sales and multiply that by our same 3% profit margin, and we see that our new profit is $16.22 million. So that is, again, our new. Now it says here, round our answer to 3 decimal places. We can put a 0 there. If the last decimal is 0, then we don't need to add it, but we'll add it just for good measure there. I guess we can add a 0 there and a 0 there as well. Okay, the new total revenue for next year, answered in 2 questions back, represents an increase to revenue of, and we have to figure out how many dollars revenue increased. So we go back to our spreadsheet, and it is an increase to revenue of $20.8 million. Again, we just take the new revenue and minus the previous revenue to get that difference of $20.8 million. Input that here, $20.8 million. The increase in total revenue answered in the previous question, $20.8 million, would increase profit by, and so now we have to figure out how much our profit increase would be. Our increase in profit is the new profit based on the higher revenue of so we have 16.22 million new profit minus 15.6 million profit from the previous year's revenue of 520 million, and that gives us a $0.624 million increase to profits. $0.624 million increase to profit. Using the original revenue number of 520 million, if the company spends 67% of its revenue on purchases, what would be its purchasing expense? So that one we simply take 67% multiply that by the 520 million in revenue, and that gives us a purchasing expense of $348.4 million. $348.4 million. Next question, final question. Assume that revenue stayed flat, meaning the company did not try to increase sales by the 4% target. By what percentage would they have to decrease purchasing expenses to equal the increased profit that would have come from a 4% increase to revenues? So we have here in this cell the increased profits from sales growth targets, and that is the increased profit was $20.8 million, and we multiply that by the 3% net profit margin. So again, the increase in sales, I want to make sure that's clear, is $20.8 million. And of that $20.8 million, we would only be able to keep $0.624 million in profit, or rather that would be our net profit given a 3% net profit percentage. Now to figure out how much purchasing would have to decrease on a percentage basis in order to support or get that same benefit to the bottom line of $0.624 million, we merely take the amount saved, or rather the amount of increased profit from higher revenue, again $0.624 million, and we divide that by the revenue times the purchasing percentage, purchasing expense percentage. And that tells us that if we could just shave 0.1791% off of our purchasing expense, just a whisker savings from purchasing expenses, we would achieve the same bottom line benefits of $0.624 million as a 4% increase in sales. So again, this problem shows that quite often we can achieve better bottom line results by focusing on reducing expenses than we can by focusing on increasing revenue. Well, that is it for this tutorial video. I hope you found it useful and hope you understand this concept and the importance of trying to keep purchasing expenses low as a strategy to help improve bottom line profits.